Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and call to order the Sacramento Transportation Authority for February 20th. Will you please call the roll?
Boulahan?
I'm here.
Desmond? Dickinson?
Yo.
Guerra? Hume?
Here.
Kennedy? Maple? Middleton?
Here.
And Director Middleton, at this time, it would be appropriate for you to...
I am participating, Chair, under the Just Cause rules.
Oh, they
for the
logged me in
caregiver
over here.
family. And there's no other individual in the room with me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you. Pulapati? Rodriguez? Here. Singh Allen?
Here.
Spees?
Here.
Talamontes? Here. Vang? Avdis?
Here.
Pluckybaum? Here. And Vice Chair Rathel.
welcome to STA. Director Boulahan, do you want to start us off and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today?
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Will you please read the announcements for today?
Yes. This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is live and recorded with captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV U-verse cable systems. It is also live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, February 22nd at 2 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. To make an in-person public comment, please complete your speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The chairperson will call your name when it's your turn to make a comment. To make a teleconference public comment, please raise your hand and virtually by pressing the raise hand button in the Zoom or by pressing *9. The clerk will unmute you so that you may make your comment during the public comment portion of the meeting. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record.
All right. That brings us to comment items. Do we have any comments from the public regarding matters not on the agenda today?
You do not have any public comments here in person. I do see somebody in the Zoom. If you wish to make a virtual public comment, please raise your hand. Seeing none.
All right. Please call item number 2.
Item 2 is selection of chair and vice chair for calendar year 2026.
And I think we have...
I'd like to make a motion. Yes. I'd like to make a motion that our current vice chair, Director Rathel, be the incoming chair.
Second.
All right.
We will be taking voice votes on all items today.
Perfect. Will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Directors Boulahan,
Aye.
Dickinson, Guerra, Hume,
Aye.
Middleton,
Aye.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Singh Allen,
Aye.
Spees,
Aye.
Talamontes, and Vice Chair Rathel.
Aye.
I'm sorry, also Pluckybaum, Avdis, my apologies. And the motion passes.
All right. And then do we have a nomination for the vice chair? I know we had put together some background information. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, just that traditionally there's been a rotation between the cities and the county, and so traditionally the vice chair would come from the County Board of Supervisors. Those interested from the County Board of Supervisors are Supervisors Hume, Kennedy, and Rodriguez in the vice chair role.
I'd like to nominate Hume for vice chair.
All right. We have a nomination. We don't need a second? We do need a second.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Okay. Boulahan,
Aye.
Dickinson, Hume,
Aye.
Middleton,
Aye.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Singh Allen,
Aye.
Spees,
Aye.
Talamontes, Pluckybaum, Avdis? And Chair Rathel.
Aye.
The motion passes.
All right, that moves us to our consent items today. Do we have any questions or comments from the board on consent items? Or any requests to pull items today?
I'll go ahead and move approval of the consent.
Are there any comments from the public on the consent items?
There are not, and for the record, there are not any public comments for item 2. I do see a couple attendees. Nobody has their hands raised.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Please call the roll.
Houlihan?
Aye.
Dickinson? Hume?
Aye.
Middleton?
Aye.
Rodriguez?
Aye.
Singh Allen?
Aye.
Spies?
Aye.
Talamontes? Pluckybaum? Avdis? And Rathel.
Aye.
The motion passes.
All right, that takes us to separate items. Will you please call item number 13?
Yes. Item number 13 is authorize the executive director to execute an interim financing agreement with the City of Sacramento for the I Street Bridge Replacement Project and authorize solicitation from commercial banks for a line of credit.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right. Well, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the board, I am here today to present on the I Street Bridge Replacement Project, interim financing. And this project is included in the Measure A expenditure plan as part of the local arterials program and is budgeted in the 2026 capital improvement program and in the further out years. So for those members who are newer to the board, today's presentation builds on information previously disclosed to the board in August, and it focuses on updates and some of the changes that have happened since then. So the I Street Bridge Replacement Project is a regionally significant infrastructure investment with an estimated construction cost of approximately $300 million. The project is primarily funded by state and federal grants, including the Highway Bridge Program funds, which are reimbursement-based and are subject to reimbursement caps on a yearly basis. So as a result, the City of Sacramento faces a construction period funding gap between project costs incurred when the project costs are incurred and then when the grant reimbursements are delivered. So since August, several key developments have occurred. Most notably, coordination with Caltrans has resulted in the increase in the annual reimbursement cap on a per yearly basis, which has materially reduced the amount and duration of the interim financing needed. The Measure A program eligibility has also been structured in a way that multiple programs are eligible for this bridge. And based on updated assumptions, a maximum line of credit is now $95 million versus the previously discussed $165 million. So moving on to the slide deck here, we have some opportunities as STA and the City of Sacramento with this financing. So this financing leverages Measure A's financial strength to ensure timely delivery of this project. So it also unlocks the $250 million in state and federal funding that I mentioned earlier and protects other jurisdictions' Measure A shares. We are structuring this agreement to kind of isolate the city's share from everyone else's. And it secures pricing for a project that has seen consistent price increases year after year. And it also enables other larger scale regional projects like the I Street Bridge deck conversion, access improvements to the Sacramento Valley Station, the intermodal station in downtown. And this slide covers a little bit of the background. And it's a little bit repetitive from the August presentation, but I'm going to go over it for the new members. So in 2023, STA began discussing this financing with bankers just to see what is out there and what options are available. In early 2024, STA and PFM developed some early strategies with city cash flows. And later in 2024, STA and the city staff started coming together to develop a funding plan. In 25-26, where we are today, STA, PFM, and the City of Sacramento have all come together to come up with an overarching master agreement that has been legally reviewed from our bond counsel as well. So the next slide here, this is our August plan versus where we're at today. So currently we have secured $40 million a year in funding from the Highway Bridge Program versus the 20 million that was earlier. The line of credit need has gone from 165 million to 95 million. The payback term is significantly reduced, and the estimated interest and fees have come down significantly, saving the city of Sacramento a significant amount of money. And at this point, I'm going to pass off the presentation to Darren Hodge with PFM Financial Advisors to go through more of the financial detail.
Director Talamontes, did you have a question now or after the presentation?
Perfect. Good afternoon. Dustin did a great job providing an overview of what I'm going to be speaking to, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on the line of credit and some of the preliminary analyses that we ran. So as Dustin mentioned, the I Street Bridge project is fully funded, but anytime there's grant funding, there's often a situation where there's a timing disparity between when the funds are needed and when the grant funds are received. And so a line of credit can help bridge that gap to make sure that we have funding available for the project and provide financing until the grant funds come in. Now, when we talk about the line of credit, we are not going to be securing the repayment of the line of credit with grant funds. Instead, what we're proposing is securing with Measure A sales tax revenues. The reason for that is because sales tax revenues are much stronger from a credit perspective. Lenders are going to give us a lower interest rate with higher ratings if we secure it with Measure A sales tax revenues. Now, that being said, even though Measure A sales tax revenues are going to be the source of security for the line of credit, STA is going to look to the city to make payments and demonstrate their ability to pay interest, fee, and principal on the line of credit should there be a disruption to grant receipts. And then STA will also not enter into any agreements with West Sacramento. Instead, the city of Sacramento and West Sacramento will coordinate on their share. Now I'm going to get into a little bit more detail in terms of how we came up with the $95 million. So as I mentioned previously, we took a construction schedule, and then with that, we layered next to it, what are the anticipated timing of the different funding sources for the project? And so you see those two in the construction schedule column and the reimbursement schedule. The annual draw need, what that represents is the funding shortfall. So that's really caused by the disparity in terms of when the grant funds come in relative to when we have construction cost. And so as you can see, we're anticipating needing in fiscal 26 about $2 million, going up to $39 million in 28. That essentially gets us to a max facility size that we need of $95 million projected by fiscal 29. And then as you can see, given that the HPP funds will continue to come in over the ensuing years, we anticipate paying this off by around fiscal 2032. And on this slide, what I'm going to do is talk about some of the estimated interest cost. So with a revolving line of credit, we pay interest on the amounts that we draw. We also pay an amount on the facilities that we don't draw. And so we looked at this several ways. The first way we looked at it is we took interest rates as of February 10th and put an estimate of what we think a line of credit might charge us based off interest rates on that day. And we came up with an interest rate of about 3.42%. The other way we looked at it is we took a historical perspective and said, what would the average rate be over the last 5 years? And that came in slightly lower at about 3.11%. And so if you look at these two tables up here, what this is demonstrating is what are the total interest cost and fees that we'd anticipate we would pay over that time period through fiscal 2032. And based off rates as of February 10th, our total fees and interest would be about $11.1 million. If rates were lower, based off the 5-year historical average, the total interest and fees would be about $10 million. Now, I do want to point out, these are just based as of certain points in time. The revolving line of credit, the actual interest we pay is going to be based off what interest rates are going forward, which today, obviously, we don't know. And so with that, I'm going to pass it back to Dustin.
Thank you, Darren. All right, so this approach does not specifically approve a line of credit today. Instead, it establishes a policy framework and limits and protections for the city of Sacramento to proceed with awarding the construction contract while allowing STA to defer detailed financing terms until they are required. The debt is not required as of today. It's required in a couple of months from now, possibly a year from now. So any subsequent board action would be limited to approving the implementation agreement and the final line of credit documents. So we will be coming back to get the formal approval for the line of credit. And it's going to be consistent with the framework that we approved today. So before you today is a request to authorize the framework to address the remaining gap while having appropriate safeguards for STA and the Measure A program and all the constituent agencies. So specifically, staff is recommending that the board authorize the executive director to execute a master agreement with the City of Sacramento to advance Measure A funds for the Ice Street Bridge replacement project in an amount not to exceed $95 million. The requested action also includes authorization to solicit proposals from commercial banks for the revolving line of credit to support these advances, so that the solicitations will give us more to build agreement frameworks with the City of Sacramento. So following the board approval, we will be soliciting the proposals with the commercial banks and coordinating with the city on reimbursement and draw procedures and preparing an implementation agreement to carry all of this forward. So, and we will also be coming back to the board as things progress and providing you regular updates. So to conclude this presentation, we're open to any questions that you may have, and the City of Sacramento has representatives here to address any additional questions. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Director Talamontes.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move forward with this item. Can you hear me? All right. I'd like to move forward with this item and direct staff to continue the appropriate work needed. What kind of motion are you looking for me, Clerk? Is that good enough, or do you need me to read anything specifically?
No, that's good.
Okay, sounds good. And to my colleagues here at Sacramento Transportation Authority, I know we had this conversation a few months ago, and the interest rates at the time, and there was a lot of complications with Caltrans. City staff went back and worked with Caltrans, and so did STA, to give us a better deal. And I think that what we have presented in front of us today is a much better deal for Sacramento Transportation Authority and for all the partners involved in this bridge. And I just want to remind everybody that the rail yards is one of the largest infill development projects here in California and across the West Coast, and it's something that's very important for this region. It's an economic driver that's going to connect us. It's going to bring housing. It's going to bring commercial space. It's going to bring entertainment and obviously soccer and a hospital. And I'm really excited about the future of the rail yards. And with that being said, we need this bridge to be able to connect West Sac to our core here, and it's going to bring jobs, not just for local contractors, but also for union labor and a lot of opportunities for small businesses. It's going to create, construction jobs in the short term and permanent jobs in the long term. And it's going to strengthen our tax base here in the Sacramento region. And it supports major venues and future development. And so I just ask you to please vote yes on this item and allow this project to continue moving forward. We have the funds. We have the financing, we have the appropriate partners in place, and we're just going to continue to grow, and it requires all of us. So please vote yes today.
Did you make the motion?
Yeah.
So we have a motion for staff recommendation. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Director Hume?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to tease out for the record, because it was insinuated at the last time we discussed this, this is essentially a risk-free endeavor for STA, and so I want to backstop that and call out some of the things that are in the staff report. First is the isolation that this only is secured, this line of credit would only be secured by the revenue projected to be used for the City of Sacramento. No other jurisdiction's allocation would be leveraged in order to repay these funds. Is that correct?
Somewhat. So the security is across the entire Measure A sales tax base, but the repayment is isolated to the City of Sacramento shares. And we are providing a level of comfort in there as well. So if we do have some economic downturns, we are not in jeopardy of not being able to get enough funding from the City of Sacramento from their Measure A shares. So that is how it's structured. It's backstopped by the sales tax, and repayment is dedicated from the City of Sacramento's share.
So if the bottom falls out, the economy collapses, what I'm hearing you say is all funds are on the table.
That is a worst case scenario, but yes.
Okay. That's not risk-free, just so we're clear on semantics. The second thing is it talks about the interest in the fees and all of that would be borne by the city of Sacramento, either through their funds or through other means that they have. But in the staff report, it says, should they not be able to meet those obligations, or should STA not be able to meet those obligations through our funding, we would look to the city of Sacramento to meet those obligations. Should the city of Sacramento have an issue, they would look to the city of West Sacramento. What happens if West Sacramento says, pound sand, we're broke?
That may be a city question.
I'll just add really quickly. I think we structured this in such a way that the city of Sacramento's share of Measure A should be able to fund the entirety of the thing if we had to, and that would be in the case of which for some reason the grant reimbursements didn't come into play. So. My colleague sitting right in front of me, though, would say that should is a non-legally binding term. Yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to shall.
Yeah. And I would say that, this is kind of a high-level agreement to give the city some comfort in actually awarding a project and knowing that financing will be there about a year from now when they actually need it, or maybe 6 months from now. And so the actual implementation and line of credit will come back to the SDA board with probably more language like shall instead of should.
Okay.
Okay.
And there's already language in the current proposed agreement that allows us to get out if, as you say, the bottom drops out of the economy.
Yeah.
And we'll put that in the implementing agreement and make it even stronger if necessary.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing that language. And if you wanted to ask my question, it was somewhat rhetorical, but I'd certainly look forward to your answer.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Ryan Moore, Assistant City Manager with the City of Sacramento. So as both Dustin and Kevin have pointed out, this is a framework that allows us to put the pieces in place. Really, we're not committed until we award the project, and then we'll really know. The up to $95 million, the up to 5 years is all contingent on the plan the contractor puts in place. But to your question, who would cover fees and interest? That's the city of Sacramento. If it's not paid through STA funds, they would be paid by other local transportation funds, the city of Sacramento.
Okay. I just, I having sat on these dioceses for some years, know that should it come to that, the voters would not be pleased with the idea of saying that we're going to fund interest on this beautiful bridge as opposed to name your pet resource that the city provides, right?
For sure.
So I only say those things to say that, risk-free is a somewhat nebulous term. I feel confident that we have provisions in place and that we will see language that secures that further, but this is not without some level of risk. Thank you.
Director Pluckenbaum.
Thank you. I agree with Director Hume's assessment and share concerns about project risk. I will point out, though, that there is a project risk if we do nothing. And the current state of affairs is untenable. The current Ice Street Bridge, as we all know, poses some significant public safety challenges for both sides of the river. Bridges are symbolic and literal promises between communities, and we are going to literally span that river and create a physical bridge that connects Sacramento and Yolo counties in a meaningful way that requires us to stretch ourselves a little bit. And I take Director Hume's point. We should do everything we can to mitigate that risk, control and contain it, but there is nothing in life without risk, and doing nothing itself has risk. So I urge and I vote. Thank you.
Director Dickinson.
Thank you, Chair. And I think Director Pluckenbaum has said it well, but I just wanted to go back down memory lane for a moment. In the past, jurisdictions have bonded against their Measure A money, have they not?
Yeah, we've done bonding. Mostly, when we do bonding for a group of projects that across. But we did bonding in 2006, and 2007, 2008, 2009, and again in 2012.
So I mean, this is really not anything radically different in the sense of assessment of risk. If we have and have successfully bonded against future Measure A revenues in order to get projects delivered more quickly, STA has undertaken the risk that Measure A revenues would not be enough to meet the debt service on those bonds, which, having been prudent in how that's been done, has never, thankfully, occurred. And I think that's where we are here. Is there, I don't want to say it over again, is there some degree of risk? Well, everything we do in life has some degree of risk, but I think what's been fashioned here as a framework it gets as close to reducing that risk to zero for any other jurisdiction than the city of Sacramento as you could ask for. So I appreciate the work that's gone into this by all. I know this has not been easy. It's been a very long and complex negotiation, but I think it's gotten us to a point where we hopefully have responded to the questions that were previously raised and can move forward with delivering this very important project, which the benefits of which have been well stated by my colleagues. Thanks.
Director Guerra.
Thank you very much. And I wanted just to thank everyone for really multi-agencies and pulling together to get to where we are today. One, convincing the state to step up their obligation. And second, for all the staff to look at how we can actually save dollars to the taxpayers. I mean, the bottom line is this proposed framework saves dollars to the taxpayers. I also want to highlight a unique risk that we have in this particular project, and that is that unlike other projects throughout the county, we only have a very narrow window when we actually have to execute these contracts because of where we're building, and that's the river. And if we don't get this process done, the contracts awarded, and into the river by May, then we lose our window of opportunity of actually construction. Because unlike any other part where it's only rain that sometimes delays us, it's our window of being able to actually enter the waterway to construct. So I think for us right now, this is one of the key things where we should allow the staff to move forward and then be cognizant that we can't allow time to we know how hard it is to get contracts approved and whatnot. We have to get into construction, into the water in the appropriate time before we lose our authority to be in the water to construct. So thank you very much, Chair, and I urge and I vote.
All right, we've got no more requests to speak. Do we have any comments from the public on this item?
We do not have any public comments at this time. And for the record, Director Guerra joined the meeting at 1:40 p.m.
Thank you so much. All right, we have a motion and a second for staff recommendation. Please call the roll.
Yes. Directors Boulahan?
Aye.
Dickinson?
Aye.
Guerra?
Aye.
Middleton? Rodriguez?
Aye.
Singh Allen? Aye. Spies?
Aye.
Talamontes?
Aye.
Pluckybaum? Avdis?
Aye.
Vice Chair Hume?
Aye.
And Chair Rathel.
Aye.
And the motion passes.
All right, that brings us to item number 14.
Item number 14 is direction on the future of Sacramento Abandoned Vehicle Service Authority, including potential November 2026 ballot measure.
Good afternoon, Board and Vice Chair and Chair. My name is Jennifer Dahl. I'm the Special Programs Manager with Sacramento Transportation Authority, and I'm here with my boss, Kevin Busey, the Executive Director, to present on the direction of the future of the Sacramento Abandoned Vehicle Service Authority, SASVA, including a potential November 2026 ballot. For the new members, we want to do a quick review of the program. What is SASVA? Per the California Vehicle Code Section 22710, SASVA was formally established in 1992 with the Sacramento County and the cities of Galt, Ileton, and Sacramento as the original members. The fee is collected by the Department of Motor Vehicles and allocated to the authority by the state controller pursuant to California Government Code 9250.7. The revenue collected by the DMV is then distributed to the jurisdictional members by a formula and on a quarterly basis. And that formula is based on two factors. Relative population is 50% and the 50% for the relative number of abatements. Do you want me to wait till the...
Yeah, this is not a verbal presentation. There's actually really fun graphics that we're waiting on. Hold on.
We had it in our packet, I think.
Okay.
We're comfortable.
On average, STA deducts about 2% of total revenues to pay for administrative and overhead costs throughout a fiscal year. No worries. Here we go. Historical program performance. In the 30 years of its since its inception, there was about $30 million in revenue collected, 1.3 in average per year. That equals to about 300,000 abated vehicles in that 30-year period of time, or 10,500 average per year. One of the big influxes was in between 2011 and 2020, during which the time the program significantly increased with 20% increase in revenue, but more so with coordinated efforts between staff and member agencies, we were able to better fully utilize the revenue in each jurisdiction, and so that grew abatements 207% in that period. And then historically, the last full fiscal year before the sunset in 2022, which was April 2022, we had about almost 20,000 vehicles abated that were reported, and over 1.36 million annually. This is good information other than you can see each jurisdiction, but the chart also historically shows that they're on average the top three, and that and because population is such a big importance, obviously we have City of Sacramento, the county, and Elk Grove as the number one top three. In that period, City of Sacramento was 42% on average, and County of Sacramento 26%, and then City of Elk Grove. And then I will give it off to Executive Director Busey.
Okay, wonderful. Just a really quick, you are all members of you're all on the SASPA board, just so everyone knows, right? So you're all serving both on the STA board and the SASPA board.
Thank you for that reminder.
Just a reminder, SASPA hasn't really existed as a program since 2022. However, we have been collecting late fees. So we actually keep getting like really small amounts. That's why we still have the program in the budget. A little bit more history here. So when Proposition 26 was passed, they changed the definition of fees, certain fees, to taxes, and it required us to go and we had traditionally every 10 years the city council supervisors would extend it by a vote of the boards, but with that change we had to actually go out to the voters. So we went out to the voters in June of 2022. We received 57.7% of voter approval, which is because this is viewed, even though it's like $1 on your vehicle license fee, it's viewed as a special tax, and we needed to meet that 2/3 threshold. We felt that was a little funny because it's a fee for something that we're using. It doesn't make sense to us exactly. So we did go through a legislative effort in 23 to see if there was interest in trying to make sure this was classified as a fee and not a tax. Unfortunately, that was unsuccessful. And then most recently, we did reach out to all of the cities and counties to try to get a little feedback, what's happened since 2022 as far as your programs, right? And so the response that we heard was really there's a lack of resources in addressing abandoned vehicles. So the actual amount of abandoned vehicles being, the time it takes to actually address abandoned vehicles has gone up. And because there's no specific funding for it, those resources have been directed in other ways. And that's generally what we're seeing. Okay. So we have sort of three policy options for you today. The first is we could just end SASFA. Like I said, we have a couple $100,000. We could just distribute those funds based on our population abatement formula. The other option is we could pursue a ballot measure in 2026 since we are not pursuing one for a sales tax measure. We would need to meet that 2/3 supermajority approval. We looked at successful abandoned vehicle service authority ballots in other counties in 2022 and 2024, and we see that their ballot question was significantly different from ours, and they were successful. And they were successful, and we think a change in the ballot question itself could push us over the edge, but if you go with option 2, we are recommending doing polling. We have put a lot of measures on the ballot in the past, and I think having another unsuccessful measure was probably not in the best interest of us. So we would want to do some polling before we did that. We would need to find a little bit of money for that polling. And then the third option, option 3, is like we think we want to move forward, but maybe 2026 is not the year for us. And that could be determined through maybe polling, or it could be determined because a lot of your agencies are looking at efforts on your own ballots potentially in November of 2026. And that would be, something else we can look at. We could go down the path of, well, we're not quite sure yet, do some more work, Kevin, on option 2 and 3, and then we'll make a decision, or we can just go with option 1. I think from a soft staff recommendation is probably looking at option 2 and 3. If I'm thinking about what I'm hearing from the other agencies, I think they're interested in having those revenues back, even though they're very small. And then it's a question of timing. With that, I would love some direction and open to any questions.
Director Dickinson.
Thank you. I'm not sure if it was in the staff report. I missed it. I apologize. But I wanted to ask what would be if it went on the ballot. What would be the financial impact to a household or a voter or a property?
It's $1 per vehicle registration.
Okay.
So technically, the amounts that we're getting right now, the $1 late fees are, just for late registrations. But when the program is active, it's just $1 in your registration fee.
Okay. So I don't know what the average would be, but probably $2 or $3 a household.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which seems fairly modest. And I'm interested in Kevin's comment that looking at some other ballot language that has been used in different jurisdictions has been successful. It seems as if there may be a path there. They had, although it's some time ago, almost 58% before. So, I think this is something that is worth pursuing. And it seems to me, and so I want you to comment on this as well. You nodded your head in this direction, but we could blend 2 and 3, it seems, options 2 and 3. We could proceed on the basis of looking to put a measure on this November ballot, but we could always take temperature with the polling or otherwise and make a decision subsequently that we want to hold off. It wouldn't mean the work that's done to be in a position to put it on the ballot this year would be lost. It would still be valuable information, it seems to me, for the future if we didn't go in 26. Is that viable from your point of view?
Yeah, I think that's the intent. I think you captured it really well, actually. There's some, in order to extend it, we have to go back to the cities and the counties and do some work, right? And so we could make sure that we're a little bit careful about specifying the exact year it goes on the ballot, right? So that we can use that polling to inform when actually it gets on the ballot. And we can do the work that helps improve the ballot question. And I think that's all reusable work.
Yeah. Just a comment. I would say that long ago and far away, meaning in the early 2000s, when we had this in place, it was really valuable. It was really helpful, and at least to the county's efforts to remove abandoned vehicles. I was sort of struck by the numbers; looked awfully low for the chart, but I remember it being extremely helpful. And I know it would be helpful if we could bring it back to the city of Sacramento, and I suspect every other jurisdiction. So I, as one, would support pursuing it with the idea of putting it on this November's ballot, but of leaving open the possibility that as we get closer, we might decide, no, that's not what we want to do. But that would be a decision made in late July or so. Mid-July, maybe, with the timing. So I would hope that we would give direction to adopt option 2 with the additional flavor of option 3 to move toward this November. But if it becomes wiser to do so, put it off. But make that decision later down the line. Thanks, Chair.
Director Ed.
If
Go
I
ahead.
could, Dr. Dickinson, you are correct that the numbers do look a little bit small. Those are based off of what we report to the State Controller's Office. This does not actually show all the vehicles that were tagged and removed. This is just the ones that were towed off properties. So there are other numbers that I could provide for you if you guys wanted to see that, but this is what is the ultimate goal, is getting the abatements counted. But that doesn't mean that all the other efforts that they did to tag them and then people actually self-serving themselves to move them are not in these numbers.
Yeah, well, I'll leave it to my county colleagues to address the issue of what's going on in the unincorporated areas at this point in time. A few years ago it would have been me, but not now. Thanks. So,
Director Rodriguez.
And just really quick question on what you just said. Those that are tagged and removed, are those personally individuals who personally pay for the destruction of the car? Is that correct?
No,
those
so
fees are not included in these fees.
what's not included is if they were tagged and then they have 72 hours typically, depending on the area and where it's located, then they can move it themselves. This is only counting abatements, which are actually having to be removed by the jurisdiction.
Okay. And the question that I had on this is option 1, do nothing. Then each jurisdiction now is responsible for this amount. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Which they have essentially been for the last couple of years.
Yeah. I would personally, I wouldn't mind asking voters if they are comfortable with $1 on their registration fee. And if we were to do that this year, it seems appropriate.
Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair. I'm probably going to be in the minority on my overall opinion, but I would like more data. I'd like to know the total number of cars, and if you have it, from where they are abated.
Okay. Is it okay if it's prior to the sunset so that I don't have to ask the jurisdictions to do extra work on stuff they're not reporting currently?
Back of the napkin, give me an idea of scale. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Director Singh Allen.
Thank you. I would support the option 2-3 hybrid. What would be helpful is to get data. If the polls indicate that there is widespread support for this, then I think it would be prudent for us to support sort of the will of the voters and the public. But without that, it's hard to make that decision. So I would be interested in that poll.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, just for clarity, we did get an estimate on the polling costs. The polling costs were somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000, and so it's not a ton of money. So what we had done in 2022 was we actually went back to the agencies that received the benefit of SASFA and asked them to provide money proportionally to the benefit they got out of the program. So that will be our approach. We'll be coming and asking for a little help.
I've got $20 for Folsom today.
Chair, I have a question. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Director Delavantis.
If we want to expedite this, because I'd rather know sooner rather than later, as all the jurisdictions consider what they're going to put on the ballot for November, can we just greenlight that dollar amount as part of this motion?
You mean greenlight the polling amount?
Yeah, the dollar amount for the polling.
Go ahead, Bill. Bill wants to. I can't tell if Phil's going to say something.
If you're asking about the contribution for the polling contract.
Right.
Yeah, that's in the recommendation.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
implied.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can read it out of the staff report.
You thinking we would do that work and then seek reimbursement later, kind of a thing, from the cities? Or are you thinking?
Well, I mean, this board, you can't commit the city yourself here, but you can authorize the director to go seek those funds.
Okay.
So you want to provide direction to seek those funds and
And move forward with option 2 and 3.
got it. Okay.
All right, and that was the motion. That's a friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment. Is that okay?
Well, do you need a motion on this, or just sense
Yes.
of? You want a motion?
We need a motion. We need some clarity on what
Sure.
at least 9 of you want us to do.
Then I will move that we direct the staff to pursue. I like the hybrid characterization of Director Singh Allen. So the option 2, 3 hybrid.
And the funding
you want to
for
have
the-
direction that the funding come from the jurisdictions.
Sure. Give them authority to go find the funding for the
okay.
poll so that we can move
So,
quicker on this and not have to come back to the
with
board.
additional direction to seek funding from the jurisdictions that are members of SAFSA.
And to do the polling? Okay.
That's a great motion. I won't repeat it, but I'll second it.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any public comment today?
We do not have any public comment.
Perfect. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Yes. Boulahan?
Aye.
Dickinson?
Aye.
Guerra?
Aye.
Middleton?
Aye.
Rodriguez? Singh Allen?
Aye.
Spies?
Aye.
Talamontes? Plucky Bomb?
No.
Abdus?
Aye.
Vice Chair Hume?
No.
And Chair Rathel?
Aye. All right, that takes us to item number 15.
The motion passes.
Oh, thank you. Our executive director's report.
It's mostly people driving to Sacramento.
Wonderful. First, I just want to, before I really get into this, I want to say that, really appreciate our 2 new board members. We have Portia Middleton, City Council member from the City of Citrus Heights, and we have Pamela Bland from the City of Ileton. And I just wanted, we didn't get the chance to say anything because of the kind of busy meeting, but we appreciate, you being here, and I'll be reaching out as well, so. A little bit about, on the executive director's report, a couple of items. We'll go kind of quick here since we're on a Friday. So as you know, SACOG is doing its regional funding round. They do that every 2 to 3 years. That funding round is to provide grant funds, federal grant funds for transportation projects. And this year, they've given us kind of a range of how much money grant funds that we should plan for, although it is a competitive process. That range is between 125 and about 84 million, so there's about a $40 million range. It's still a competitive process. And so, there's going to be lots of applications because it's a 6-county process. And so from SDA's standpoint, we want to make sure that our Measure A funds are being leveraged by those federal dollars, right? And in addition to do that, we need to make sure that we're competitive. So what we've done is we've used some of our smart growth funds, to develop a series of grant training seminars for agency staff. We're going to provide one training that's going to be, here's the big picture SACOG process for you that are not familiar with it. There's kind of an iterative process to it. And so as you go through that process, whether it's the pre-application or the application or even before that, here's the things that your staff should be thinking about as far as trying to make sure that you're submitting competitive projects. And then we're going to do a second training, which is more about, okay, you're putting the grant application together. Here's what a successful and competitive grant application looks like. Not all agencies quite understand exactly what SACOG is looking for, so there's a little bit of translation needed. And you have a lot of variation happening on who's actually preparing those grant applications between engineers and planners and others. And so we feel like this training will give the cities, the county, or transit providers kind of a leg up in that competitive process, and will hopefully capture a good share of those competitive dollars. And then the other item I had was just for everyone's knowledge, so there is some legislation that SACOG is pursuing. So essentially what they're pursuing is SB 375 reform, which is the current bill authored by Steinberg that requires metropolitan planning organizations to prepare a sustainable community strategy every 4 years to show that they're going to meet their greenhouse goal reduction targets. And one of the challenges that we've seen as we continue to get to this goal, which is a 2035 target, is that it's getting harder and harder to show that we're going to actually meet that greenhouse gas goal reduction under a sustainable community strategy. And so there is a ability to do something called an alternative planning strategy, which is, hey, we couldn't quite make it, but this is our best effort. But because a lot of these SB1 competitive grant dollars for transportation are tied to showing you're consistent with an SCS or a sustainable community strategy, you really have to, they're looking at doing legislation to say, hey, you have to be consistent with a sustainable community strategy or an APS, which is that alternative planning strategy. And so they're pursuing that legislation. That legislation has been introduced as SB 1087 under author is Cabalden. And just from SDA standpoint, I think what we're specifically want to make sure we're watching is, as they start getting into the funding world of things, we want to make sure that we can leverage our Measure A dollars to get grant funds, whether that's SB1 or federal dollars, right? In this case, we're talking about SB1. We want to make sure that bill doesn't introduce anything that would negatively impact the cities, the counties, transit providers from leveraging those Measure A funds. And so we're going to continue to watch that bill. That bill's been introduced, but it's not, I would say that it's probably going to go through a pretty large amendment process here shortly before it goes to committee. But we're going to kind of watch and see where that goes. Another item is the SACOG is looking at a regional VMT mitigation strategy. They got direction from their Land Use and Natural Resources Committee to continue looking at what a regional VMT mitigation might look like, those costs of that, and the administration of that. How do you deal with the return to source model option that I think a lot of cities and counties are interested in? And then they're going to continue to coordinate with STA. STA is, last year we went through a series of workshops to look at, hey, would a countywide VMT mitigation strategy make sense for us? We actually have a report that we plan to present to you in the spring, hopefully March or April, looking like April at the moment. And so we'll need to continue coordinating on, do these two strategies make sense? Are they both viable? If they're both viable, should they work together? That kind of thing. And so that effort will likely continue. For those of you not familiar with that work, I know we have a lot of people new on the board today, but essentially, we see a need for additional funding for active transportation, transit, rail, including infill housing, and we think a VMT mitigation bank at a countywide level could be a great way of funding some of those, especially when you consider some of the toll revenues that may be coming in the future, and how can those be directed to some of the other transportation needs. And then finally, our SDA Governing Board Outlook for March and April. We have two items that we're looking at. One is an update on the Stockton Boulevard called Step Forward Project, which we used to be called the Stockton Boulevard BRT and Multimodal Partnership, I believe. They're going through a big series of outreach events. There was one yesterday. I believe one of our members was there. Okay, Mr. Guerra was there. But they're going to provide the same presentation to us so the full board can hear about that project. That was something that many of our board members asked for. And then we anticipate that VMT mitigation strategy memo will come back as well in the March-April timeframe. And that's it. Open any questions.
Any questions for Director VC? All right. Seeing none, we'll go on to item number 16. Director Talamantes, any report out on CARTA?
No report out. We're looking for our executive director and doing interviews.
Director Guerra, a report out on the new Transportation Funding Subcommittee?
No report out.
Director Hume, anything on the SDA's role subcommittee?
No report out.
All right. Any other comments today? Seeing none, we're going to go adjourn at 2:27.